Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the Speak Sense podcast with me, Usama Musa, Muslim Amir. Today, guys, we have a very special guest who works in the fitness space for ethnics and Asians and Arabs and maybe even Muslims as a whole. And he allows us to eat curry, continue to eat the way that we want to eat, but still manage to lose the pounds. Help me in celebrating and joining our dear brother, Mr. Adam Kaan of Fit Dad Life Mastery. Woo! Welcome, sir. Welcome. It's absolutely a privilege and an exciting time to have you on our show. Gave a howlook. How are you, bye?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. First of all, thank you for having me, bro. It's always good to connect with brothers, like-minded brothers in the same space or similar space. Entrepreneurship is a massive thing that I believe in. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read. I've got an entire blog post on it, but that is like a summary of my journey, which I would, inshallah, one day like to really elaborate on what led me to it.
And inshallah, we're going to be diving deep into that today as well. So obviously, Mr. Adam here is the founder of Fit Dad Life Mastery, which, like I said, is essentially helping, you say it's for the, desis that want to continue, the desi dads that want to continue to eat curry, but still lose weight, right? So, and I see a lot of your content and mashallah, you always, I really, the one that you shared with, was it the Nutella spread and then the avocado and banana, I think it was. And, very insightful, knowledge, mashallah, and wisdom of what to eat and how to eat and to continue to lose weight, mashallah. So before we get into the business and entrepreneurial side, obviously, I know that you're up north in the UK and from Manchester. So we're just close to Manchester. And I wanna just start off by, finding out maybe a little bit about yourself and your journey and what was it like living up there and what's led you to where you are today?
How much time have you got? In terms of my health journey, that's one. My entrepreneurial journey is another. But living in the north, where I am, it's raining, it's cold, it's wet. It's very depressing. And that can be a motivator for a lot of people to want to improve their situation and be able to get out. So just before the podcast, I spoke to inshallah, one day I would like to move maybe further down south or even to another country. I went to Portugal in December. I thought, wow, if I had this weather like every day, like it'd be so much easier to stay fit as well. Like I'd be out walking and doing stuff, and it's just good for the mind.
It's very true, and that's why I try and stay as far down south as possible, because up north it's always winter, and down here it's very mashallah, it's always summer. We've got lovely beaches and alhamdulillah, even the beaches up north, you can't really go to them because it's so cold. So
great skies, right? I'd say 80% of the year is just great skies. Really great.
And even up north, subhanallah, you feel like you're closer to the clouds. Every time I go to Manchester or something, I'm like, I can touch them. I swear I can touch them, right? Yes. And subhanallah. Okay, now obviously, what was it like growing up in the West? Obviously you're from an Asian background in a predominantly Caucasian country, a white country.
Well, in the 80s it was tough, bro. In the 80s it was tough, right? Like we used to live where we live now. It's full of Asians, but when we first lived there, we used to get these racist attacks. Like we used to get our window broken quite often. There was a time when my dad had a heart attack and he was in hospital, and I remember these skinheads, we used to call them, would come and they were banging on the door. They post feces, dog feces through the letterbox and stuff. I remember this day when this was in the 80s, like 86, this 1980s, 86, around that time, 80, 85, 86. And my mum was like, holding us all, and these guys like, Abdul, and I don't know why they always call us Abdul. They always banging another, Abdul, come out, and stuff. And my mum was terrified. This time my dad was in hospital after following a heart attack. So, but then things improved a little bit. More Asians moved in, built more of a community. But in my teenage years, I was in a school that was quite divided. And there's a lot of race fights used to go on and stuff in my teen years. But then, then following that, identity crisis as well, and that's not a northern thing. That's just a Western thing where you are deciding who you're trying to find out who you are and where you fit in. As a Muslim, you've got one side pulling you, then you've got your hedonistic uh, Western lifestyle pulling you on the other side at university. You know, do you go to the clubs, or do you go to sleep so you can get off a fajr? That kind of stuff.
And that's a very, very, very important point you just mentioned there, because obviously all of us growing up in the West have been caught up in that, that lifestyle of where should we go, right or left, right? So what was the thing that allowed you to overcome that obstacle, first of all? Second of all, just because obviously you mentioned, your childhood and how difficult it was and how challenging it was. I remember my mum telling me that, because she used to wear the niqab when she first came. And she was saying she used to just get it stripped off her. They'd just come and, men, she'd be on her own with her children or something, they'd attack her and, strip it off her. And I remember one incident when we were on the bus, we were really young. Me and my brothers, we were up in Tooting in South London. And, obviously we were just young looking. I was just staring at a guy. I remember he was just a big guy. I was just staring at him, big white guy. And then he just turned around and started intimidating me and my mum. Obviously we were sat at the back of the bus, on the double-decker bus, right at the top, right at the back. We were very young. We just wanted to sit there and didn't really realize what that was going to lead to. And then we went downstairs because my mum felt intimidated, and they followed us downstairs, him and his mates. And, they were just hurling abuse at us and stuff. And then we got off the bus, alhamdulillah, nothing happened. But I remember that being a very, young man being very intimidated by this big white guy for can't even remember what it was for. And, these incidents, really do occur. So what was it like? Because I know in the late 70s, 80s as well, for, the BAME community, for the, Caribbeans, for the Africans, for the Asians, it was a very, very, very challenging time in the UK. So what was it like? What tactics did you use to overcome that? And then what helped you, or what decisions did you make, or what actions allowed you to make that decision-making process of whether going right or left in your, adolescent to young adult life? And how did you overcome that?
So in terms of the kind of racial abuse and stuff, that started kind of disappearing as more and more as the community grew. As the community grew, also we had older guys, like similar to in London, where there was all these, where these guys decided, right, okay, we've had enough of this. We're going to kind of defend our territory, defend ourselves. And we had a similar kind of an uprising where guys decided to, stand up and defend themselves. But as the community grew, that kind of started phasing out anyway. And in terms of me deciding about my right or wrong, well, in year 9 in school, and then again, this might be a vote of confidence, like don't get kicked out of school, stuff like that. But in year 9, I got kicked out of school, and I was involved in these. I used to get involved in these fights where near our area, in the area called Fitton Hill. Fitton Hill was the BMP headquarters, and a lot of their children would attend their school, so they were like heavily conditioned with racism. So their children and a lot of the, I'd say 50% of the school was from that area, and then 50% was from the Asian area. So there would always be these clashes, and I've been one of the guys that always gets involved. So I've got into a fair few fights, and after this one fight, I got kicked out. Right, so then my dad, he took us to Bangladesh for 8 months. It was planned anyway. We're gonna go, so we took, but 7 months, 6 months it's supposed to be. Then it ended at 7, so not 8. 7 months. I came back from there, and when I was in Bangladesh, I kind of reconnected with my faith. Prior to that, when I was in year 7, I went to a Muslim youth camp, young Muslim organization organized by Isnt the Masjid. I went to Muslim, and that was my first time that I got in, kind of understood my faith a little bit. But then I hit puberty, hormones, aggression, fighting, all that stuff. But then year 9, I went to Bangladesh, and there I kind of reconnected with my faith again. I mean, looking back at it now, is a lot of things that are kind of superstitious and not really accurate. But I reconnected with my faith, and when I came back, I was out of school trying to find a place in school because I've been out of school for so long, and because of my track record, it's difficult to get into a lot of the schools that I applied for. So I went to a Muslim boarding school. So at 14, and I didn't mind because I wanted to learn more about my faith. So I went to Muslim boarding school, and that was really the conditioning that helped me to decide like which path I'm going to take. And it's not to say that I was completely a saint and innocent after that, but Alhamdulillah, that gave me a really, really firm grounding in Islam and knowing who I was and what I wanted to be. And in terms of challenges, when I came out, I came out of there in 2000, sorry, 1997. 97, end of 97, I fell ill, and that's the whole story. And it leads into my whole business and what I do now, my struggle with my health during that time. So I left there, and Muslim boarding schools were not like what they are now, or it's South Asian ones. They were quite used to get beaten up a lot. So I left, or I was ill, I got beaten up, I left. And then when I left, when I came out, we were kind of conditioned that you have to wear a thobe. Right? If you didn't wear a thobe, you're not a proper Muslim. Right? That kind of belief, right? You have to wear a thobe. You have to have a full length beard. It has to be beyond the fist length, and you have to wear a cap. And if you didn't, you were almost like not fulfilling the sunnah, but you were not only. It was much more than that. It was almost seen as like sinful, and wearing Western clothing is almost like tashabah kuffar. Right? So all of this. So when I came out and I'm trying to wear a thobe and a cap and a beard, this was 97, right? It was not like how it is now, where everyone's wearing thobe, everyone's wearing a cap, and there were fewer Asians. Man, I fell out of place. I fell out of place. Every day you'd go back and you'd have this struggle where you feel guilty for not wearing it, and but if you wore it, you felt like a fish out of water. So that was a major, major struggle.
SubhanAllah, yeah, and that is obviously very challenging. Obviously maybe in Bangladesh it's more, but even back home, like people don't wear the thobes that much unless they are of a certain level of iman, or it's one of those cozies at home, the uncles that wear the thobe, but it's not that all white, fresh with the the cap or anything. It's just the guy that's wearing the short sleeve thobe. It's just comfortable. He just goes to the mosque and then goes home. So subhanallah, but it's actually very, very interesting to hear that. Obviously, going boarding school is very good, alhamdulillah, in terms of your the foundations for your iman, especially in the West in that time. And because I see a lot of, especially in the Asian audience, obviously with us Arabs or the Africans, maybe we didn't come as early as the Asians. So the Asians in the UK have like 2, 3, 4, 5 generations even sometimes, right? So, and you see it with people that were raised in the sort of late 70s, 80s, early 90s, that sort of 10 to 15 year period. And you kind of see that they're either really good with their deen, or they just have these ideologies against Islam where it stems from this, right? Where like, if you're not going to dress a certain way, then you're not going to be a Muslim. And that is a very obviously wrong teaching. It's an incorrect teaching. I understand the tashabaha with the kuffar, which basically means that you're trying to look and imitate the kafirin. That's fine. But the dress sense of, 2000 and even 1990s to 2000 doesn't take you out of the fold of Islam, because the dress sense or the dress code has changed, right? So you're not doing it to tashabaha with the kuffar. You're just doing it because this is what you like wearing as well. It's the style that you want to take. When I wear a thobe now, it's because I want to wear a thobe. When I want to dress like this, it's because I want to dress like this. What you dress or how you dress is out of choice. And I think that also, because of the fear maybe that the imams had, or the elders, the uncles had and they knew the challenges we would be facing in this country. So maybe they tried to keep that as an authentic, stay true to yourself. Because on the other side of it, I'm always like, subhanallah, I love the Asian community, because you always see, the Pakistanis, for example, always wearing their salwar kameez, and the sisters are always wearing, the aunties are always, Asian aunties do not come out of their authenticity. They are always wearing, the Asian dress and the Asian the code of clothing. And I really embrace that and think that's really amazing, because sometimes what does happen here is you can lose that touch with your culture. right?
Mm.
But mashallah, the Asian community is strong within that. But in terms of the males, because obviously the males is a bit maybe, wearing a thobe, you'd get maybe ridiculed. You're wearing a dress. I've had it before. I had people stop me on the street because I walk around in my thobe. People stop me in the street and they're like, "Why do you wear that? Why are you wearing a dress?" And then I just say to them, "What's the Scottish traditional male dress? They wear a skirt.
Yeah.
They wear a skirt. So, it's not to say that I'm wearing a dress. This is a sign of my, this is what my people wear, or this is what my, when I wear this, I feel maybe aligned with my religion a little bit more. I feel a certain way. I like looking this way. But you can't ask me why I'm wearing a dress, right? One, have you tried to wear one? It's very comfortable, right? Number two, you want to talk to me about my culture and my faith when your people up north, your people, they're the same color as you, they're the same culture as you, they slightly talk a bit different, but they're up north and they wear things they wear literal skirts, mate. So you want to talk to me about what I'm wearing? Why don't you go speak to your cousins up north and see why they wear what they wear? So, but this comes from, obviously, I'm born in an environment now where there's a lot of Muslims. In the early 2000s, we were maybe, like when I was in school, it wasn't as many Muslims as there is now. Like my little brother with him in school, because mashallah as well, us Muslims, we multiply in number, right? Because it's a sunnah, there's the hadith that says the Prophet ﷺ told us to have, loads of children, it's a sunnah. So now, we're in this sort of environment where alhamdulillah, there are loads of children and there are loads of Muslim kids, and the facilities to be able to learn your deen with the right foundations is maybe more in place now. Because I've been at talks with, Muslim leaders that come dressed like this, shuyukh, they can come like this. It's not a problem, right? Yeah. So I think also this does also fall into the line of, maybe bid'ah as well, whether it's false beliefs and innovations, where, some people from certain backgrounds will instill certain things into their communities that aren't a certain way. Because like I said, when I speak to certain people from your age group or from that, that era, especially because I'm from the late 90s, early 2000s. So I've got my friends whose dads, are maybe not as religious or something, right? And you ask them why, they've been through these sort of experiences, right? Where they've had these ideologies put into them about Islam, which aren't the truth. So now the child who's my age is trying to teach his dad is like, yo, you were taught wrong. Let me re-enlighten you. Subhanallah. So, but what I want to ask you a question quickly. What did you aspire to be when you were growing up? Because obviously you were facing all these challenges. You were put in these environments where you were having to defend yourself, and it's quite natural with what you went through to have this sort of aggression, if you like. But what was your aspiration when you were younger? What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was really young, I wanted to be a pilot. I'm fascinated with planes. This was when I was really, really young, primary school. But then in my teens, when I went to Muslim boarding school, we all wanted to become grand chefs.
Yeah.
Students and knowledge, but then after that, when I came out of school, when I fell ill, I was ill for about 5 years, absolutely broke as well. I couldn't get a job at 17 or 18. I did at 18, 19, but it was a great difficulty. I suffered a lot due to being ill with tuberculosis, which you can read about on my site as well. Maybe touch on it today. So at that time, I think poverty leads to an extreme desire for wealth, right? So about 19, I badly wanted money, but not really understanding why I wanted it, or having a purpose or a goal or anything, or trying to add value. I just wanted to be rich, right? And that's why I went to uni and I said, look, what's the shortest way that I can make money, right? And they said, IT, 1999, it's IT, get into IT. So to IT, so I went to careers advisor and said, do you enjoy IT? I said, yeah, because I used to like messing around with Microsoft Word. Like I thought that was IT and clip art, right? And I go, yeah, I like IT. She goes, okay, fine. Apply at uni and do business information technology. I applied, got in. Oh man, worst mistake. Didn't enjoy that one bit. But then, to be honest with you, after that, it was just I never had a specific goal. I wanted to have a career, and a high level. Like some of my friends and family, they've got those kind of jobs where they're constantly traveling. They're in Singapore, then they're in Hong Kong, then they're back to the UK, then they're to Amsterdam, and they're constantly traveling, like first class, all paid for, business meetings, all that stuff. I wanted something like that. When I went to uni, that's what I was thinking of. But having said that, prior to that, I dabbled in business. And again, I don't have a clue what business was. But I dabbled in business. I was looking at opening a car wash, selling cars, number of other things. But again, I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't have a mentor or a coach or any kind of guidance. But so all of these things fizzled out. Back in 1999, I thought like you can make money online. I thought like you can make money online, and I used to buy a lot of these direct mail stuff. And I spent thousands. I spent my student loan. I spent like half my student loan buying direct mail stuff. There's this one where it's like a pyramid scheme, right? You buy the book, right, and it tells you how to make £10,000 through the post every single month, right, with these simple products. And the whole book is about you get the license to get his manual, and you sell it to everybody else how to make £10,000 through the post. I still got a copy somewhere, right, through the post by selling these products, and basically you're just then selling his stuff onto other people. And then eBay was new then as well. I remember I bought this product on how to sell and make money on eBay. So then there was these mail order products. There was eBay. Then there was so then after he sells you the manual, he said, okay, why don't you get cassettes, right? Cassettes, and get the licensing to that, and then you can reprint these and you sell them on. And then there was online stuff that I tried where a lady called Avril Harper, I still remember, I still got a book, How to Make Money Online, other 101 ideas of how to make money online, ad space, Google clicks, this, that, and the other. I dabbled in it all, but there was no clear direction. I don't know how young you are or how old you are. You might not remember the Loot. There's a newspaper called the Loot, right? And you could buy ad space in the Loot. And I learned from Avril Harper that you get an ad space in the Loot and you pay £45 a week, something like that. And then people phone for this free report. And you send them out this free report, and it's all to the cost a lot of money. It's not like now where you just go on Facebook and you put a post. You have to stamps, envelopes, post all this stuff out, and then maybe if you get 10 people, then one person will order the product, and you get 30-day money back guarantee. There's all this cost involved, and then A, you don't make a lot of sales, and B, you get refunds. It kills you. So yeah, I dabbled in all of that. So specifically what I wanted to be, I wasn't really sure. A businessman or a career, but I'd say more having a career, a jet-setting career. I would say that would probably be the one much later on in life.
SubhanAllah. And that is, SubhanAllah, it's very interesting in your journey because you've been in the space that we're in now, right? Which is, the online space, or, with me, I'm kind of offline, online. My online is more for like awareness. I work more offline, but been in this sort of that sort of space with affiliate marketing, or with trying to sell products and hooks, offers, products. SubhanAllah, you've been in it for such a long time now. When you realize that you were doing these things from the direct mail days, and because you hear people like, I don't know, Jim Edwards and these gurus who have been there for 20 years now or more, that the leaders in the space. And they talk about those days, they talk about how it was, they would get people like yourself online, and, how to get the clicks and where to advertise and stuff like that. And I mean, even in today, advertising in newspapers is one of the most expensive ways of advertising. I worked as a salesman for an advertiser. I don't know, you might know them actually. They're called the Asian Media Group. They have the Eastern Eye newspaper. And, Eastern Eye and Garavi Gujarat, they own those newspapers, and mashallah, it's obviously it's a big business, but to advertise in materials that are printed is still probably one of the most expensive ways of advertising in our day and age. And it's ironic because, I mean, I know the younger generation do not read newspapers, right? So it's coming to that, it's gonna come to a point where it will, you know, so it's gonna fizzle out because now everything's online, everything is on through a phone, everything is, you know, even for them now, they're getting more people to advertise on their websites and on their apps and on, because they have to, because not everyone's gonna do print. And how many people from print now, you can't measure it. People want to know what their adverts are, you know, what ROIs they're getting. So it's a really hard gig. It's a really hard gig. Unless you put like a specific code on it or a way of measuring it, you know, you don't know, because people might come from the newspaper, but then they buy online. So then you're like, oh, it's obviously the online advert that worked, right? Yeah. But it's not. So, you know, that's interesting, which actually I'm going to ask you. Obviously, you've been dibbling and dabbling in business for a long time. Just quickly, how long have you had Fit Dad Life Mastery?
Oh, Fit Dad Life, so only about 3 years. Not even 3 years. End of 2019 or mid 2019.
Cool. Right, just before COVID then. So you kind of came at started at a good time.
So I've been a teacher. So in terms of Jim Edwards, I was reading his book last night as I was going to bed, and I was watching one of his videos in Scripts last night actually. So that's interesting.
What book are you reading? Is it Copywriting Secrets?
Yeah.
I literally finished it just about a month ago.
Yeah, do you know, the thing is, my problem is, man, I've got so many books. I read like a chapter, half a chapter, a quarter. Like I've got thousands of books, and I don't get through them all. I don't finish them. I don't even manage to implement everything. And that's probably one, when you ask me what's the one advice, probably stick to one thing, get through it, implement it. You know, speed of implementation is massive. Or you could end up with a shiny object syndrome. Right? Just get everything and dabble. And everything. Like I watched one of your videos today on YouTube. Intelligent advertiser. I've got that. I've not even looked at it. Right? I've got that. I've got access to traffic funnels as well. I got that like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I've watched a few videos, half of some, quarter of others, and one of the problems with that approach as well, when you give everything to everyone, when you give everything, throw everything at someone, it's like they're in they're like a rabbit in front of a headlight. Like what do I do? What do I think? So yeah, I'm kind of victim of that mentality, and that's why with my program as well, I've kind of changed it where I drip feed the content. So I go through this stuff. Let's action this. Let's go to the next thing. And before I said, okay, clients want everything. Just give them everything they want, and it's like, oh damn, and my success rate at that time wasn't as good as it is now. But sorry, you're saying 2019, but prior to that, I was a school teacher.
Okay.
How many years? And I've dabbled in other businesses as well. I had a car sales business as well for a few years.
Okay, cool. So obviously you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, and just going back to that shiny object syndrome, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's actually why I started doing my book reviews, because I would start reading the books and I wouldn't ever finish them. So now I've, before doing my book reviews, I said I want to read 52 books this year. I want to finish a book a week. But how can I hold myself accountable? Oh, I know. Start doing book reviews, because now I've got a YouTube channel where I'm telling people I'm going to be posting every week on YouTube a book review. So now I've got to do it, right? And since I've set that goal, I've only missed out on 1 week. So now I've got to do 2 books within a week across the year. At some point, I'm gonna have to publish about 2 books. And I think that also about implementation. We all sign up to a lot of online courses, and I mean, you'll find that a lot of us that are within this space, we've got a lot of mentorship. We've got a lot of these people that we signed up to their courses to try and gain as much knowledge as possible. And as a human being, the moment that you stop learning is the moment you stop living. So you always need to keep learning. And I think one of the things, like for me, I'm more about the journey than the end result, right? I've had a long-term vision of where I want to be in, by the age of 40 or whatever for a long time. And for me, it's about the journey. Like who I've become along this journey is more important for me about where I'm going to end up, or, am I going to actually achieve those goals that I've set? It's about who I'm becoming in the process. And one of the things that I'm trying to, like you, and I think it happens to a lot of us human beings, is that shiny object syndrome. It's that getting distracted. It's that not focusing on one thing. And it's a really hard thing for me. For example, I've always had multiple businesses that I'm trying to build. I never had, a a full established business that I was focused on 100%. Even when I had established businesses, I was always with other businesses, right? I mean, like even like this business, for example, we've had it ready for about 18 months. We still haven't entered the market with our products, right? And it's because I'm focused on other things. But I've learned to focus one thing at a time. And now I've got like Muslim Emir is an established business now. Now I'm dabbling in other businesses where I can work them and work this. But before I would be working 8 projects at the same time, doing like a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this, a bit of that. And it's like one step here, one step here, one step here, but it's not, you're not getting anywhere. Whereas if you focus on one thing at a time, you take 10, 15, 12, 10, 15, 20 steps forward, right? That even if you go one step back, you're still, 20 steps forward.
Yeah.
Whereas those other ones, you go one step forward, 2 steps back, one step forward, 2 steps back. And on top of that, you're working part-time jobs and trying to make money to fund your business and stuff like that. So speaking of business though, what's your biggest achievement in business?
My biggest achievement in the last year, alhamdulillah, we've helped over 100 desi dads lose weight. When I said desi, it includes Arabs, it includes blacks, Arabs, Asians.
Yeah.
I helped over 100 desi dads lose weight. Just in the last year, over 100, I kept it off. Prior to that, I was coaching somewhere else. I mean, in total, myself, I've helped over about 400 people now. 100 directly in my business, about 300 when I was coaching somebody else.
Very good.
But yeah, that would be my biggest achievement. I helped to help them to discover that you can live a normal life, because our goal isn't to get people ready for a physique competition.
Yeah.
Right. Or win a bodybuilding or competition or anything like that. Right. Our goal is just regular, busy professional dads whose priority isn't like to be on stage wearing skimpy underwear and show off their physique. That's not the goal. The goal is people who just want to, who really, who are more, their values are more family, faith, and health, right? So using fitness as a vehicle to enhance those things so they can live longer, be around for their family, be leaders, be powerful, strong, fit, healthy leaders. Because if you read any book on entrepreneurship, and I was speaking to somebody yesterday who just signed up, and I said to him, look, why do you want to sign up? And he goes, look, I want to launch my own business. I want to do my own business. And, I feel that I do need to look after my health and be at the top of my game with mental clarity and stuff. So I dig deeper and asked him. I said, look, every book I've read on entrepreneurship, there's always a chapter, there's always a section where they say you have to look after your physical and mental health. You have to look after it. And I've experienced that myself as well. Like, I'm able to solve problems a lot better. I'm able to make a lot better decisions. I have much better clarity of thought. I feel less stressed. Like sometimes I think, oh man, I can't do an exercise today. I don't have time. But then that day just goes really poor. Like my execution is really poor. My productivity is actually really poor. Had I taken that time out and exercise, then I probably would have been less. Made better decisions, been less stressed, and even my interaction with my clients would be a lot more pleasant. As instead of sometimes like you can show a little bit of frustration or you can show a little impatience. You can be a little abrupt, but when you're feeling relaxed and calm, your interactions are a lot more better. So it's kind of false economy. So for that reason, like sorry, I forgot the question you asked. So our goal is to really help people upgrade their life through using health and fitness as a vehicle. So that's what we've helped these 100 desi dads to do.
Alhamdulillah, and I completely agree. I mean, I'm someone who likes to work out and exercise and stuff, and life gets busy sometimes, and I can't do my minimum of 4 times going to the gym a week. And those weeks that I don't go to the gym, and I've had a couple of them in the last sort of month, it's really difficult to. It's a hard one to explain, because you think going to the gym is going to tire you out. You think going to the gym is just a headache. You think working out is just gonna take away your time, or it's just hard. But in reality, whenever I've worked out, or whenever I work out, I get this, like you said, I get more motivation. I get more, you overcome the hardest obstacles, which is going to the gym, waking up in the morning, And the first thing you want to wake up, you don't want to do anything, right? That is going to require too much of, that grit, fighting through. But going to the gym, for example, in the morning, you've overcome the biggest hurdle and biggest challenge. Getting yourself to the gym when it's cold, getting out of bed, going to the gym, touching weights that are cold because it's all metal, and then, putting yourself through that extra, one more rep, pushing through, your muscles aching and stuff like that. And then you come home, you shower and stuff, or if you shower at the gym, whatever you do. After that, you get this sense of just energy. I don't know how to explain it. You just, and everything feels like you're at 20% quicker or 50% quicker, or sometimes even double the speed that you would normally be at. So when I don't go to the gym, when I don't go to the gym and I'm waking up in the morning, I laze around in bed much longer than I would when I go to the gym, right? So that extra 20 minutes in bed kills your momentum. Then when I'm getting up, I'm just walking around. I've got that half a yard slower or maybe 1 yard slower. I'm just walking around like I'm not urgent. There's nothing urgent today. Even if I might have meetings, like for example, this morning I wanted to go to the gym, didn't have the time to go to the gym. And just before like getting on the call with you, I was just taking my time doing things. But when I go to the gym, when I come home, I'm cooking, I'm showering, I'm doing all these things at the same time, trying to be as productive as possible. And because it's maybe because I've gone to the gym, I'm like, okay, I've spent an hour at the gym. I need to now make up that hour. So I'm not going to cook and I'm going to do it all at the same time. So I'm going to boil eggs whilst I'm in the shower, come out, eggs are boiled. I can just make my sandwich or whatever I'm making, sit down, get to work, read my book or whatever. And then, it allows you to have that more, be more productive. So now we've talked about your biggest achievement. I would ask you, what's been your biggest lesson in business?
Oh, wow. Is getting out of the poverty mindset. So one of the things that happened to me, when I was in Muslim boarding school, right? We got conditioned as like poverty, there was this major glorification of poverty. Like we got conditioned that poverty is something to aim towards, right? So so what I used to self-sabotage a lot, right? I mean, of course, I mentioned that I never had, even though I dabbled in business stuff, never had clarity and a proper blueprint and stuff. But then when I was at uni, well, what I would do is I'd have assignment deadlines that I had to meet. Instead of doing them on a Sunday, I'd spend all Sunday in the masjid. I'm not saying you should spend Sunday in the masjid or whatever. And I'd be with Tabligh Jamaat. I spent all day with Tabligh Jamaat on a Sunday with assignments that had to be completed, like unfinished. I'm like, yeah, if Allah wills, I was talking to you earlier about Allah wills, right? So if I'd be like, yeah, if Allah wills, and whatever Allah wills to me. And what I would do is anytime I excelled in something, I used to notice I used to self-sabotage. Like I'd feel guilty and I'd be like consumed by this guilt that I'm getting too materialistic. I'm becoming too dunyafied. They call it dunyafied, like we used to call it dunyafied, right? So we become, and it's just materialism, right? I'm becoming materialistic, so I would cut back. And if you read this book called The Big Leap, it talks about self-sabotage in that. So I would then just pat my hands off it and not do it. And then I'll just, and then I think like somehow being poor, broke, all that is closer to godliness. And having wealth and all the rest of it is really what the materialistic, the people far away from Deen do. I struggled with this until I was 32. Until I was 32, I struggled with this. This money is evil, wealth is evil. You should try and live a humble life and all the rest of it. Around 30, 31, I started coming out of that. I read Muhammad Sharif. I watched Muhammad Sharif, the millionaire who went to Jannah, and I started thinking on my own terms. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, like we are like we're saying all this money is bad and evil and stuff, but then we're begging everybody for it. And I'll tell you a few experiences. When I was 22, I used to organize events at the masjid, and we would and a lot of the Muslims, Bengali community, they're involved in restaurants. They have restaurants where it's alcohol, and we would shun them off the minbar. The imam would say, yeah, astaghfirullah, haram, and all that stuff, right? But whenever we needed money for the masjid or for the events, we would go to the rich businessmen selling the alcohol, and we knew all their numbers, everything, and we'd always approach them for donations. and that didn't sit well with me. Then when I hit 32, at that time I got divorced. I was involved in a car sales business that went sour. Right, I was in the business deal. I walked out of that and I lost a lot of money, but I had have savings in that, right? Because my business partner said, if you walk out, that's it. You go with nothing, right? So we wasn't even taking a wage from that. Like we were just putting all the money back in. It's like a side hustle. So I was working full time. I was just put money into that, and we grew it to quite a large sum of cash reserve. And we thought one day it's going to be our retirement pension, right? So then I walked out of that, and I didn't get anything from it. At that time, my house got burnt down. I wasn't insured. I wasn't insured. I just got divorced, and the ex took the kids. And 6 months later, she gave me the kids, and I had nowhere to stay. I was staying at my mum's when I was on my own for them 6 months. But then when I got my kids, mum said, "There's no room here. You have to go to your own place." So my house had burnt down. I hadn't got it repaired, and it wasn't insured, so I couldn't get it repaired. So I got one room in this house, sorted in the loft. I put carpet down, some mattresses, and we slept there for it was like that for about 2 years. But at that time, I thought, right, I need to get out of this. Now, what do you do? You're at the rock bottom. Like, what do you do? Like, I thought, look, my life depends on this now. And at the time as well, I started teaching at the masjid. I was working part. So when I got my kids, I was working full time at car sales business. But when I got my kids, I had to take my kids into work for a couple of days. And they said, look, you can't have this. You can't bring the kids into work. And I've got nowhere to leave them. So then I had to leave job. I was on benefits. And then I got a job at the masjid, which worked around the kids. Come from school, I go to the masjid half past 4 and teach there for 2.5, 3 hours, right? Or 2 hours and then 3 hours. So, but the masjid salary was £300 a month, right? And then the rest were tax credits and stuff. I was trying to do like these side things and teach Quran on the side and stuff like that. But that's when I thought, like, you know what? I need to make money. Like, I need to do something, right? I need to. So then also what happens is, at that time, charity was in vogue. Like a lot of Muslims really started getting involved with charities. 2012, charity started really picking up in the Muslim community. And we started working with other charities, not just Muslim charities. So I got involved with an organization called MEND, Muslim Engagement and Development, right? So I was doing voluntary work with them. And one day it just hit me like, everybody I was working with, everybody around me, they all had good jobs. Pharmacists, solicitors, lawyers, whatever, they all had good jobs, earning good money. Well, I understand to be good money, 35, 40K, whatever. And there's me on my mushy salary of £3,000 a year, right? And any spare time I've got, I'm volunteering it, working with different charities. And I thought, you know what? This is wrong. Like, I need to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. I need to be able to provide for my family and stand on my own 2 feet, because when I was working for these charities, eventually I started feeling like a glorified beggar. I'm asking you for money, but I can't donate anything because I haven't got any money, right? But I'm out there asking, everybody who's got money, I'm asking them, like, can you donate to this? We're doing an event, we really need it, the Muslim community needs it, or whatever cause, can you donate, can you donate, can you donate? And then eventually I thought, you know what? I don't want to be the hand that just takes. I want to be in a position where I'm the hand that gives. And there's a hadith that the hand that gives is better than the hand that takes. I thought, although I wasn't the direct beneficiary of those donations, I felt that, look, I want to be the guy that people come to and say, well, he's got money. We need money for this. And I'll be like, yeah, how much do you need? Oh, you're building a masjid? How much do you need? Yeah, I'll cover it. I'll cover half of it. Oh, there's a crisis in the community or something like that, or something's happened in Syria or thingy, and there's families need houses. Yeah, here you are, 5 houses, whatever. So or whatever need. I thought, look, I started realizing, you know what, the guy being poor is weakness, and poverty is weakness. Why have I conditioned myself into thinking like this? That's when I started changing. My thought process started evolving. And I thought, you know what? Having wealth does not mean that you're far away from your deen. It's just an amplifier of what's in your heart. If you've got a good heart, you'll use it for good things, good deeds. And if you've got an evil heart, then you'll use it for vice. But I thought, but the guy who is more financially capable, he's stronger. right? And then the hadith, the strong Muslim is better than the weak Muslim, even though there's good in both. And it's not restricted. The hadith, and again, when I was in madrasa and boarding school, we just thought it's only in Iman, only in the guy who prays the tahajjud at night and reads extra nawafil. But actually, the hadith isn't restricted. It's not restricted to just salah or just thinking financial. So now I understand that hadith to be financially stronger, physically stronger, mentally stronger, in every capacity, being stronger. And I thought, look, wealth can actually do so much for the ummah. Like, we can do so much more, right? And we don't have to rely on beg even government lobbies and all the rest of it. So that's when I started having this shift, this major shift.
Yeah.
So the big lesson has been for me is to come out of the poverty mindset, and then there's a journey that ensued after that. So that's when I got back into entrepreneurship. I started looking at what can I do online, offline, all that stuff. And I pursued 2 or 3 different avenues. And you were saying about shiny object syndrome and sticking to one. I started off on like, what do I want to do? There was teaching. I built a Quran course. I spent 2 years building a Quran course, like to understand Arabic. And then I didn't market it at all. It's still there on the Thinkific. It's still there, and I see people signing up every few weeks. Somebody signed up. It's for the free, the 5-day, and then they upsold to the main course. And I've given it away a few times in Ramadan as well. So it's still there. So I did that, spent 2 years, then didn't market it. And then I thought, okay, my sister, a Muslim sister, she's a business mentor as well. And she had a call with me. She really helped me out, and I'm indebted to her forever. And in 2015, she helped me out. And I've still got on my mirror, I've got a window in front of me. On the window in front of me, it says October 2015. That's when I took it seriously. Right? So she said to me, look, Akhi, what are you trying to do? So I said to her, look, she goes, what are your passions? Have you validated those? And then I said, passions are health and fitness, a passion the Quran, and I built this Quran course. She goes, look, there's so many people doing Quran courses, and there's proper shuyukh. Like, you're not like a proper shuyukh, right? There's proper shuyukh doing it. There's people in India, Pakistan, everyone's doing it. Some are doing it really, really cheap. It's saturated, number one. Number two, she said, like, it's saturated, and then people are doing a lot cheap, and they're not thinking. So then Russell Brunson, one of these guys, I watched a video of theirs, and I started reading more into this stuff. And I remember one of these coaches saying that your ideal client, right? What is the pain that keeps them up at night? I thought, you know what? Not understanding the Quran is not a big enough pain point for most people, right? They'll feel like occasionally they'll listen to a lecture or something like that. Oh, subhanAllah, I don't understand the Quran. But as soon as they go about their day, they forget about it, right? It's not a big enough pain point. So then I thought, look, I've got 20 years. Like, I've been training since 2002. I had like 10 years, experience of weight loss. And then 2012, I lost weight and I never gained it again. Prior to that, I was yo-yoing and all that stuff, right? 2012, I was onto something. I lost weight and never gained it again. I kept it up for years. I thought, okay, I actually understand this now. I know this. So the sister said, why don't you do health and fitness? So I thought, yeah. And then, I got back into work. I was teaching in school, Muslim boys' school, 2016. So while I was doing my job at school, 3 days a week, I was building this fitness business part-time. Now I thought, okay, like, this is a pain point that people want to solve. So I did my level 3 personal training, but I didn't really launch anything or try anything. I was still talking about fitness online. Then 2019, I officially launched about July. And I launched offline and started training people. Right? Before that, I had trained people informally, like just friends and stuff like that. So 2019 was official. Right? But I got my qualifications, it was official. Oh, the funny thing is, when some of the Muslim entrepreneurs who approached me back in 2015, 2016, I was talking about qualifications. Those said, oh, I don't need any qualifications. Loads of us are like, you don't need any qualifications. And I had a few non-Muslim entrepreneurs because they said, listen, mate, it's unethical. You need to get your qualifications. Like, we're not gonna coach you. We're not gonna tell you how to build your business until you've got your qualifications. Like, only come and speak to us once you've got your qualifications. Right? So I 2019, I finished them. So I launched offline. I got a job at Pure Gym, started training people offline a little bit. And then I'd heard about this online stuff, and I've always wanted to travel and be able to work from anywhere. So I heard about this online stuff, and I knew about a program that was £2,500, right? And I couldn't afford it on my Muslim school salary and stuff. So 2000, but then I've been saving. I've been seeing it for years. I've been saving for like 3 years. Right? So 3 years later, alhamdulillah, like I got this program, understood about how online coaching works and how it can get better results and stuff like that. And as you say, the rest is history. So biggest lesson, sorry man, I've dragged this on a load. The biggest lesson, money is not evil. Right? As Muslims, we need to get out of this notion that money is evil. We need to get out of this poverty mindset and really rewire our thinking around how we see finances and money.
And I completely agree with that. And even on my mindset training, I deliver a whole section on this. How do you view money? What is your experience been like with money growing up? Why do you have these views on money? As Muslims, if we don't have money, how are we supposed to give zakat? How are we supposed to give sadaqah? How are we supposed to feed the poor? How are we supposed to build masajid? How are we supposed to build madrasas? How are we supposed to fund our activities? How are we supposed to celebrate Eid? How are we supposed to give the youth something to strive for? If we as a Muslim community and a Muslim ummah don't have these things in place where we are wealthy, then how are we going to expect our children to grow up loving our religion? If they're looking across the Jewish community, the Christian community, the Buddhist community, the non-Muslim community in any way, shape or form, and they've got money, they've got fundings, they've got activities, they've got this, they got that, it's going to have an impact. Also, if we look at the companions, they were all wealthy. They were all wealthy. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu.
Yeah, Abu Bakr, Uthman, we forget about them, don't we? We only look at the companions.
They were all wealthy. We say that the Prophet ﷺ wasn't wealthy. What the Prophet ﷺ did with his money, obviously he used to get a lot of money, but he used to just always give it to the community. It's not that he wasn't wealthy in the sense that he didn't want money or he couldn't get money. There was a lot of money given to the Muslim community, to the Prophet ﷺ. He just didn't use it on himself. Big difference here. He wasn't poor because he chose to be poor. He was poor because he gave all his wealth away. Any wealth he would receive, he would give back. Anything he would get, he would give back. He would starve himself with hunger to feed those who didn't have food.
Yes.
That's the difference. That's the big difference that I think a lot of Muslims also don't understand. They understand the Prophet ﷺ wasn't rich or wasn't. No. It was because he gave everything that he ever got to those that needed it more. So very quickly,
like we forget about Osman and we forget about Abu Bakr, both very, very wealthy. Like Osman's wealth was like crazy amounts of wealth. And these were for the caliphs. Sorry, two of the caliphs.
SubhanAllah. So we as Muslims should have wealth, of course. Now, what would be one advice you would give to 20-year-old Mr. Kaan growing up?
I would say, look, Allah has a plan for you. Allah has a plan. I mean, I didn't touch on my journey with ill health. Like I was really, really ill. I was really ill. Like I went through depression. It's on my website. Anybody who's listening wants to watch it or read about it. So honestly, I couldn't even make this up. Like most entrepreneurs, they have a journey, they have a story, right? And sometimes they have to sugarcoat it, or not sugarcoat it, sorry, they have to spice it up. I have to make something up, like they're on a park bench and all this stuff, right? Or whatever. SubhanAllah, like when one of my mentors, the coach, said to me, look, what's your story? And like he was telling me, look, this is how you structure a story and stuff. I said, mate, SubhanAllah, like I don't have to make one up. I don't even have to think of one. My actual story is so surreal, like you won't believe it. And there's so many lessons to be learned from it, my story as well. Like in terms of qadr and qadar, what's decreed by God and what isn't. Because one of the other objections we have in health and fitness is people, like I said, people say, oh, Allah wills. I'm gonna die. Right? Whatever happens to me, why should I look after it? So and from my own journey, you can see the difference between qadr and qadar, something that Allah had already predestined that you couldn't change, right? And then the aspects that you could. So my health journey, I struggled, I suffered depression. And, a few times I felt like ending my life. Like I got so bad. I was so ill. Um, and with home, I became housebound, bedbound. It became so bad that a few times I thought, you know what? In fact, I had months where I felt like killing myself. And so if you ask me that advice, and I would tell myself then that, look, this right now, this hardship and this test and trial that you're going through, this is going to make you who you are in the future. Like that, Allah has a plan and a purpose. That's the advice I give myself. Like I've helped, alhamdulillah, we've helped so many people, and it's growing. And uh, I get my clients keep telling me, look, you need to get this out to the people. You need to get this out. They're my biggest fans. Like they're like, look, man, just get it out. Like, because I don't run any ads. I don't do any ads or anything, right? And they're like, run ads, do everything. That just you will need thousands of people a day to see your offer. Because at this moment in time, it's purely my posts and inbound leads, right? And occasionally, if I see somebody that I think will be a good fit, I send them friend requests or engage with people. But that's it. So the exposure is very, very minimal. And they're all like, no, you need to go to events, you need to run ads, you need to do this, you need to do that. And because look, people need this. People need this because after they've experienced that change, these are people who've been struggling for 15, 20 years with their weight because they've tried the diet, they've tried the hard training, they've tried everything, and they couldn't stick to anything. And now they found out, wow, like if somebody told me this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have lost 5 stones, 6 stones, 3 stones when I was 23, and I would have never gained it again. Like subhanallah, like where were you like 10 years ago? So they're like, oh, get out. So now alhamdulillah, I've achieved that. So I would have told myself that look, you're gonna get better, you will get better, and Allah has a plan and a purpose for you, and this is use. Allah is setting you up for that plan.
SubhanAllah. And that is very good. That is very good advice because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, I'm sure a lot of us are, we feel like it's not we forget that Allah, is in control of everything. So you try to take matters into your own hands sometimes. Yeah. You start chasing things wrong way. And this doesn't mean that you stop praying or you stop believing. No. You just run out of patience, maybe, or you want to make something happen right now. So like you start making all these decisions and you start behaving in certain ways and start doing certain things. And then you just have when you realize actually Allah is in control, Allah is all knowing, Allah will make my situation better through my correct prayers and dua. And this doesn't mean I shouldn't try. The hadith of tie the camel first, right? Khudu fil asbab. Take your precautions, do your actions, try your best, but also ask Allah for guidance. Like praying istikhara. For me personally, I think praying istikhara is such a beneficial form of prayer where you pray the 2 rakahs and then you make the dua to Allah. So if this has a good in it, then Ya Allah, you know that it has good in it and you can bless me in it. And if it has bad in it, then Ya Allah, you know it has bad in it and take it away from me. Because there you're just saying to Allah, look, I'm taken by my actions, I'm doing the right things, but you know better than me. Right. And that will help you in your business, alhamdulillah, and that will help you in your life. And I completely agree that that's Allah has a plan for us. And the only thing that can change Allah's plan, there are a few things, but one of them is dua. So even if Allah has willed for you to have a certain life, your dua, if accepted, can change that as well. So the more you remember Allah, the better it is for you. So I want to ask you very quickly, what is one business tip you would give? I think you already I think you're going to give an answer, which you've already kind of said before. But what would be one business tip you would give our audience?
So in terms of the dua thing, I one of my things when you go to my group on Facebook, one of the first things I see ask people is your dua like sincerity? Because we have so many du'as from the Masnoon du'as and the books like Hizb al-Azam and stuff, where we talk about, we ask Allah for good health. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan wasi'a wa shifa'an min kulli da', right? A cure from every illness, and Allah protect my eyesight, my ears, and all that stuff. So when we make dua, right, but then we take zero action and we're stuffing ourselves with doner kebab and pizza, and we don't care at all, lying in bed, you're destroying yourself, right? You don't take no activity, nothing. And then you're making dua, Allah, give me a good health. That dua is lacking sincerity. So I said, is the dua lacking sincerity? Are you doing everything opposing your dua? and then hoping that Allah is just gonna, make you fit and healthy and all that stuff. So I asked that question. So yeah, that's an interesting point. In terms of what's the one business tip I would give? I would say be consistent. And that's another thing that I really failed on years ago. Is like my expectations would be wrong. I do this with my clients with their weight loss. I manage their expectations. And one of the things that and also we'll talk about consistency. Like consistency isn't, I tried. I used to do this a lot, man. I used to spend like one weekend on a learning to code website, and then I'd give up. And or I would do it like very sporadically. There was no consistency. So in whatever line of work or business you're in, you have to be consistent with weight loss as well. You can't be in a calorie deficit for one day. You can't eat nutritious for one day, or odd days in the week, or 3 days in the week, and then 4 days you don't care. That's not consistency. Even a week, 2 weeks is consistency. We're talking months and years of consistency. Like, where you have one dip in 3 months or 2 dips in 3 months. Otherwise, you're consistent across the board. Having said that, we do need to caveat that. If you're consistently doing the wrong things, like when it comes to weight loss, if you keep going on these fad diets and crash course and trying to lose weight, or you are trying to outrun a bad nutrition, right? If you're consistently doing the wrong things, that's not going to work. So in terms of business, ideally you want, no matter what you're going to do now, somebody's already done it. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel 9 times out of 10. You may need to tweak it to your audience, to your market. You might change a few things, but somebody's already probably done what you've already done or looking to do. So you probably have a blueprint. You probably have a coach or a mentor that can guide you, right? So if you have a blueprint and you know that blueprint works, be consistent with it. And that's one of the things that I failed miserably for years, is being consistent in anything. Like I would expect, like, oh yeah, I did this, I should be earning so much, or I should have so many clients and stuff. Or it doesn't work. And I see this now. I'm like, I've got quite a successful weight loss coaching business, but I see other coaches coming after me and who have come after me, or started at the same time as me. They fizzled out after 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 2 weeks. They fizzled out, and then you look at what they did. They didn't really try or make any effort or try to learn. You said earlier, you have to keep learning. You have to keep learning. So validate your business idea, find a blueprint, find a coach, and then just execute consistently.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Consistency consistency and discipline. They fall hand in hand, and they're one of the hardest things and most challenging things, because when everyone says success is built around discipline and consistency, the reason it is because so many of us fail with it. And that's why, when people say that is literally the key to success, is because that is the truth. If you are able to stay consistent and stay disciplined and continue with those small actions every single day, like I don't know if you've read the book The Slight Edge, but it talks about this, that simple action every day has a bigger impact over time because of compound effect, right? And that's the same with the consistency. Yeah, like showing up every day on your social media and stuff, raising that awareness. And I spoke about this intelligent advertiser, where you're getting your audience is always cold. You want to get them to that warm level where once you give them an offer, they can buy from you. If you're not doing that consistent action of showing up every day, people will forget you. You become irrelevant. That's nothing to do with anything other than that's how we are as humans. Like how many people come and go, right? So I completely agree with that. Now, inshallah, what I'm going to do, I've got a couple more questions. So first of all, do you have a morning or evening routine, or you don't have a routine?
Not great at the moment, but I do. But in terms of consistent stuff, I was going to touch on as well, that don't look for shortcuts. That's another thing. Don't look for shortcuts and nail the basics. With myself, about running ads. Recently, I was thinking that the inbound leads dried up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the calls that I was having weren't converting. And I was speaking to my consultant, and I said, look, you know what? I should go to ads, man. This relying on inbound or time consuming and stuff. I should go to ads. And I said, the conversations I'm having, they're not the best conversations as well. And he said, look, you don't need ads. He goes, you're looking for shortcuts. You're not ready for ads yet. Right? He goes, you're not ready for ads, right? He goes, look, if you run ads, you're going to get tons of exposure. You're going to get loads of people messaging you. right? Now you've got like 10 people, 5 to 10 people messaging you a day. You'll have 40, 50. Without the 40, 50, 45 will not be suitable. Right? So you're still going to have those conversations. It's still going to take up a lot of your time. And she goes, but I can understand now, you're getting hesitant and you're looking because your business is growing, my expenses have gone up as well. I've got staff and all that, my overheads are much higher than what they were a year ago. Triple, quadruple what they were. So there's pressure, right? He goes, look, you're looking for shortcuts. He goes, forget it. He goes, how many posts are you putting out? How many conversations are you having? How many people have followed up with? All that stuff. And then when you look at the numbers, there's like, I'm not hitting the basic numbers I'm supposed to be hitting. So why, it's like you think, oh, your weight loss isn't working. Are you doing the actions consistently, right? Or is it it's not working, or is it you're not working the process? That's the issue. Sorry, you're saying with sorry.
No, I like that one. You're not working the process. Are you working or are you not working the process? Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
So in terms of, I said, tell my clients that as well a lot of time because with weight loss, man, I know it like so well. Like if you somebody put 1 gram of weight on, I would know why. If they lost a gram of weight, I'd know why. Like, and I know it 100%. It's black and white, like literally black and white. I know so much confusion out there, but alhamdulillah, like, we know weight loss so well. So when I see a lot of fluff online, it's like, because I've got proof. Like I've done this with so many people as well. So anyway, coming back to what you were asking about morning routine, yeah, alhamdulillah, my morning routine is when it's really on point, and I encourage morning routine with my clients on my weight loss journey as well. And this is why we call it a transformation rather than just weight loss. It is a massive mental shift because we all do all this stuff. Like I encourage them to read books, encourage them to have morning routines, change their mindset, the lot. So morning routine would include salah, gratitude journaling, even if it's just saying, look, I'm grateful for thinking, and certain books like Atomic Habits and various others. Wake up in the morning, you just say, and there's a dua we read. Allah, I know it when I'm in the morning, but I'm not going to forget. When you wake up, Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatna wa alayhi nushur. Right? So read the dua, and then you just say, look, I'm grateful, and this is going to be a great day. Right? Or so gratitude journey, what are you grateful for? My heater came on, like I could do with it's warm in the house, right? And so gratitude journey, 3 things, and you can use apps, 3 things that you're grateful for and why. And it can be the most trivial things, right? Being alive, another day to fulfill your purpose. Or another number 1 thing that I was going to say, but inshallah, we'll come to that this week. So gratitude journaling, salah, gratitude journaling, affirmations. An affirmation might be, I'm the architect of my own life. That's a powerful one. Like, I control my life. I'm the architect of my own life. I'm fit and healthy. I'm strong, full of energy. All of that stuff. Whatever your goals are, my business is doing really well. I'm helping thousands of people or hundreds of people. All that stuff. Affirmations. So, and then visualization as well. Right? Having it sit down and visualizing your ideal future or your optimal future. What does that look like? What's happening? How do you feel? All that stuff. So yeah, those 4 things. And sometimes as well, I'll try and read a page, a look of the Quran as well. Because I understand Arabic as well. I'm trying to reflect on some verses. And quite often it ties into the stuff I'm doing.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, bro. So routines are very good, and you've hit a couple of things there, like the gratitude and affirmations. I think is really important, and it's something that maybe I could do more of in the mornings. Obviously, like my ideal morning routine would be, for example, like wake up, cold shower, pray tahajjud, read Quran, go pray Fajr at masjid, go to the gym. Like that would be, that's like my 5-star morning routine. So yeah, I think maybe even putting in, because before I start work, I will normally like write a list of like, I'm amazing, I'm grateful for this, or what my target for the day is, my target for the year is, remind myself of my vision, or my goal. So yeah, that is that I could maybe, if I start implementing that, gratitude or what I'm grateful for, and then my affirmations as well every morning, that would be, maybe a really good thing to do. So, that's one thing I'm definitely taking away from this, inshallah. So one piece of advice or value, one thing that you find is very valuable to you that you would like to share with the audience today. So what's one piece of value that you would like to share with our audience today? And then inshallah we'll do some quick fire round questions.
I would say live with purpose.
Live with
everybody has a gift. Everyone has a gift. You have a gift. You have a unique gift, and you can bring and add value to the world with your unique gift. Live with purpose. When like I said, in my early days, when business, you just don't make money. Now, like money is not even. It's not even. I don't even think about the money. It's like money is not even an issue. I'm not bothered. It's like is it Brian Tracy or Zig Ziglar says that give people what they want, and you can have what you want. So it's like for me now, my goal is to help people discover that they can live healthy. They can lose weight and be a healthy weight and live a very happy, productive, healthy, long life without the common sacrifices that people make within hours in the gym, cutting out something. So I want to get this message out to the world and make this massive impact in the lives of our community. And I want to do that by helping 1,000 dads a year. And that's a conservative goal. I used to work for a guy who wanted to do 1 million people a year. So, and that's a conservative goal. Like 1,000 dads a year is my goal to help transform the lives of 1,000 dads a year. But that is my purpose and that's my calling. So if you can find that you're living with purpose, alhamdulillah, since I started doing this, and even your weight loss journey can have a purpose and a goal of why you're doing it, whether it's your family, your faith, and all that stuff, or all three, your finances. If you're doing it just for a six-pack, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Like, you'll fall at the first hurdle. So when I discovered this living with purpose and stuff, alhamdulillah, since I used to suffer from a lot of depression. I used to go through bouts like, I'd be okay, and then I'd have, in fact, almost every week, every month, I'd have a few days where I was feeling really low, really dark, really low, feeling depressed. I couldn't get over it. Since I started living with a purpose, since around 2016, alhamdulillah, I don't experience it. Very rarely, maybe the odd evening or odd few hours, or odd day, I feel a little bit off. But otherwise, I don't get into this really low state for days. Like, it's not happened since I started living with purpose. So I would say, that's the main thing is that have a purpose and a goal and live with a purpose, and every day you're working towards that.
MashaAllah, bro. That's very, very amazing. Jazakallah khair. That has inspired me to, so funny. It's because I remember when I did just a couple of months ago, I did I don't know if you've done the 7 why exercise, like finding out why you do what you do and why you feel what you feel and stuff like that. You do the 7 why exercise. And in the end, my biggest why as to why I was doing what I was doing with, Muslim Amir and serving the Ummah is purpose. I want to have purpose, I want to make a change. But how do I make a change? Why do I want to make a change? I want to live a purposeful life, and it came back to that of, living with purpose of, right, well, what can I do to help the Ummah? But why do I want to help the Ummah? Because I want to live a life that has that, purposefulness about it, and having a reason to wake up every day and be motivated and be ambitious. So Jazakallah khair. Before we go ahead.
I think with that purpose, right? So again, when I was younger, we were told that the only service you can do to religion is if you're teaching in the masjid or your imam or you're teaching Quran or something. Again, this is something that's a mindset that I had to escape. And later on, I concluded that, look, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Like some people are able to pray tahajjud every night and stay up for all night reading nawafil and stuff. And others, they have other strengths. You have to discover what your talents are, what are your strengths, right? And use those talents and strengths to serve the ummah, right? Or to serve mankind. As the hadith says, the best of you is the one who brings the most benefit to mankind. Oh, and you're talking about your goals. I have something called self-doctrine. I create a self-doctrine. I make my clients create it as well. I have a self-doctrine about who I am or who I'm becoming. And on that self-doctrine, I put that hadith at the top, right? So find out what your talents are and then think about how you can use that to benefit mankind. And that can be your ticket to Jannah. Like that can be your key to Jannah. It's not just that Allah only appreciates your deeds if you're teaching Quran, or you're teaching the masjid, or you're teaching Imam. Like all good deeds, anything that benefits people, right, that brings goodness and value to the world, it will be rewarded, inshallah. And so you can create an impact, and that's my goal. Is like I want to create an impact and leave a legacy behind. And everyone can do that. Everyone has that. Everyone has talents and skills and stuff, and they can do that. Stop narrowing your vision down to down to something that may not be your strength, right? Broaden your vision, find out your talent, what your talents are, and use that to serve mankind. And again, don't try and teach a fish to climb a tree. If you're trying to fit a square peg in a circle hole, because that's not you. You're trying to do something that's not you. And you say, okay, well, because this is the only way. Not everyone's cut out to be an imam. Not everyone's cut out to be a qari, So find your talents and then use that to fulfill your purpose.
Barakallah feek, jazakallah khair. I completely agree with that. So, we all have skills, and it's just tapping into those skills. And if you're not somebody that knows what your skills are, then ask people. What would you see as a strength of mine? And get support from your family. Your family members might know. If it's not your family members, your friends will know. If not your friends, your teachers. There's always someone that will know something that they feel is a strength of yours. Okay, so very quickly, bro, we're gonna end on quick fire rounds. So you ready? Inshallah. Burger or pizza?
Tough one, man. Pizza.
Pizza, yeah. Okay, good. Do you put your socks on before your trousers or after?
Before.
Before, okay. Do you brush your teeth before or after breakfast?
Before.
Before, mashallah. Movies or series? What do you prefer?
Movies, man. Series are too long.
Yeah. Personal development books or novels?
Personal development, 100%.
Okay. Ketchup or mayo?
Mayo.
Huh?
Mayo.
Okay. And finally, would you rather be a business owner or an employee?
Business owner, 100%. I was depressed as an employee. That's another thing I was going to touch on. I never found my place at work. SubhanAllah. 100%. Man, I trade 50% of my income to be a business owner than an employee. Even though I'm working harder than I ever have.
You work harder and you have faced more challenges, but you prefer it, yeah? Mashallah.
Oh, you asked about the challenges. What was my biggest challenge in business? Biggest challenge in business is hiring staff, hiring, training, and keeping the right staff. Without a doubt. If anybody's starting a business now, if you think starting the business, this part is hard, or whatever you're doing in your business right now, if you think this is the hardest part, wait till you get to hiring staff.
Hiring and managing staff. It's, and that's why I do my leadership program for business owners. One of the biggest, obviously, things that we teach is, staff engagement, staff retention, staff motivation, staff productivity.
Finding the right staff. In the last month, so I've got this consultant, he's interviewed 50 people in the last month. I'm not, because like I said, I want to step out. Like I'm still the business owner stroke self-employed. Right? I'm business owner straight. So I still do a lot of things in my business, spread across the board. Everything from sales calls to posting stuff to coaching, everything. I do a bit of everything. Even though I have staff doing those things, I have a bit of everything. So because I'm mainly part-time staff, 1 or 2 full-time staff, and mainly part-time staff. So I'm looking for full-time staff that are all in and are passionate about what they do. So if I get an appointment set, they're passionate about lead gen. They're passionate about that. They read the books like we do. They read the books, they develop themselves, and that is their strength, that is their calling. If I get sales, that's their calling. Right? If I get coach, that's his calling. Like each of them needs to love his role and kill it. And whenever we advertise for staff, we get lots of people inquiring, and then when you sift through them, you think, man, these guys, their idea of working online is watching Netflix and having their laptop on the side, or they don't meet the criteria at all. So we interviewed 50 in the last month. Not one has passed.
But that's good. That's good. You're getting the no's out the way. That's very important. You know, that's very important. That means you've got a stringent and very strict, you know, recruitment process, and that's very good because that will serve you better in the long term. Because when you do hire, inshallah, you're going to hire the right person rather than the wrong person.
Always, we only need 7, 8 staff, bro. 7, 8 staff, and that's all we need, right? And then if they are really good at their roles and they really put their effort in and do that, they get paid handsomely. They get paid much better than a normal job, and they can work from home and stuff. But then I think, alhamdulillah, I can take my feet off the gas and I can travel and be around the world and still, you know, that's one of my major goals, is to be able to travel and know that, you know, my family's being fed.
Just be wary though with that foot off the gas, you know, because you taking the foot of the gas, if you're still their leader and still the person that they look to for the guidance, then that means they're going to take their foot off the gas. But inshallah, we'll discuss that in another podcast, inshallah. So barakallah feek for coming on today. It's been absolutely amazing having you on. Guys, big round of applause for our guest speaker today. Absolutely amazing show, mashallah. Lots of value, lots of benefit. May Allah bless your endeavors. And, you know, I've benefited so much today from having you on. And inshallah, our viewers can benefit too. Is there anything that you want to quickly just promote yourself? You know, if you've got anything coming out or your program, or, you know, if you want to share that very quickly, you can.
Yeah, brothers, if you're watching, brothers that are watching, yeah, if you want to learn more about my history, my journey, all that stuff, or you want to lose weight, help with losing weight, you can find me at Adam Kaan on Facebook, Kaan, or I've got my website, kaanfitness.co.uk, Kaan fitness, all one word, .co.uk, and you can learn a bit more about me. I mean, even if you're not interested in weight loss, I'd say read my journey, inshallah. You'll find that inspirational, and it might give you a bit of a boost to seek out your own journey.
Inshallah. Obviously, information is going to be in and around the video anyway, either below or on the video, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for coming on, and inshallah, we'll see you soon. Barakallah feek, akhi. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.